Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Violent Hippie podcast. We still have not created a name for this section of the podcast, so we're still nameless.
You know, there's an exit in Colorado, and the exit's called No Name. It has no number, no name exit. We could be the No Name podcast.
We're the no name hippies.
No name.
We're the nameless hippies. I don't know. We're the hippies are pretty like aimless.
I like the hippie circle. You know that South Park episode?
We could be the nameless hippies. I don't know.
Nomads.
Something like that.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast. And today's co-hosts, we have Rachel motherfucking Fiscus. She's going to be a regular here. And then we have, go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
I'm Brandon Deskins.
Mr. Natty.
Mr. Natty, yes, sir. Been doing, changed up the name. I used to be a fighter, MMA. Did that for a while. Recently got my black belt, which is awesome, since August. But yeah, totally stoked about being on the podcast and really talking about jiu-jitsu and, what's to come, man, for real.
Nice.
Loving it.
Nice.
I'm Timothy Pullman. I'm some would say purple belt, some would say the world's worst gray belt. I like to hold that title proud. I've been training for 3 years. I'm actually just some random guy who saw somebody at a supermarket who said to come to Violent Hippie to train. I've had a wonderful experience since then, but I'm down at Bravo under Alex Human, and it's been a blast. So I'm honored to be here. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. You said you heard about us at a supermarket?
Yeah, I happened to walk into a supermarket and somebody was like, "Hey, you train?" They might have recognized my messed up face, my broken nose.
What supermarket?
Your ear, you got cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
There's that.
Here's Teeter.
Was it Laura, little short girl with brown hair?
It was a guy with a beard. I don't know,
Really?
he had hair that sums up most people at the table.
I was going to say, it wasn't me, was it?
Was it gray? Was the beard gray?
No,
Oh.
I didn't catch his name either. So
And he told you to come here?
yeah, he's like, "Hey, there's open mat on. They're striking and this and and I was like, oh, and I wish I would have gotten his name.
Yeah, well,
Well,
either way, it's been cool. You've been coming here to our fight nights. So Thursday nights we do kind of like an open mat, but we call it fight night because it's just rounds and, it's open to all gyms, all affiliates. And Tim started coming here and you've been here a couple times and you're getting ready for ADCC and No-Gi Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been awesome having you here. Great training, and like you said, you train under Alex Human at Bravo Academy, which is another jiu-jitsu academy here in Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area, And I actually trained. I met Alex years ago. I want to say I was a purple belt, or we were both brown belts, or something, and he's from Ukraine, and he has some of the strongest grips I've ever encountered. Like the first time we rolled, he literally grabbed my gi and ripped it. And I was just like, what the hell? It's this dude is super strong, crazy grips.
Yeah, that's crazy strength if you're being able to rip a gi.
He really did.
Don't surprise me.
And I know, and he's done it to several people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He'd have a 35-pound kettlebell and he would just grab it and do wrist curls with it nothing, and everyone's trying to do it with a 25, and he's like, weak people. He just makes fun of us.
He was probably Khabib wrestling bears and stuff over there. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, no, Alex is good people, and his academy is pretty close to my house actually. But he's cool, and obviously he produces some good students. So. And, we welcome all here at Violent Hippie Academy and encourage cross-promotion, cross-training, stuff like that. A lot of our students, you'll see Violent Hippie rash guards all over Virginia Beach, all over Hampton Roads gyms and stuff like that. And, we welcome everybody too. So, and that's one of the coolest things, compliments I've gotten from people that have come here from other academies and just in general, they always say man, it's super welcoming here. Everybody here is real friendly and cool. So,
yeah, that's something I liked about it. That's why I pretty much switched. It personally, it resonated towards me. Even kind of feeling like so many times that I've been through like kind of nomad status. When the first time that I met you at, Mark's place,
Yeah.
I already felt something. And then whenever you started like doing little things and I heard about it and I got the invite, dude, I was so happy. Like I could not ask for a better place to not just like increase my training, but also to like be at that place where I know everybody is excelling, because I don't want to be at a place where I'm just going to plateau, and it's so welcoming for like, cause you have so many people from different backgrounds and I love that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, your game has definitely improved a lot since you've been here for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can feel it. Like, and I love that I can bring it to the table.
I still got you with that north-south choke.
I mean, nobody escapes Rachel's north-south choke.
Yeah. Well, whenever you got me in that helicopter thing, that right there.
Oh, you taught us that helicopter choke that one day. That was fun.
Was the one where I was like,
I want to
seeing stars for a minute.
You master that one.
Yeah, because I was all like, I got up and I was like, Mitch was like, "You all right, man?" Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like, hold on a minute.
I need a second.
I need a minute.
The helicopter choke is no joke.
Yeah, that is no joke whatsoever.
That'll put you to sleep quick.
Sounds like a fun ride.
That's how I felt today, actually. Mitch had me in this crazy thing, and I had him picked up, and I was like, dude, if I picked you up even more, I knew I was going out. And I was right there, like right there.
You were doing a lot of chokes today. Every time I looked over, you had someone in a choke. I was like, what are you?
It's like, come here, man.
I was in
it.
Hey, Will gave a little speech before the class, and was like, "Hey, today's the night, or tonight's the night. Work on your A game." I'm like, "Roger that."
choke.
I'm choking everybody.
But yeah.
Speaking of, I'm about to choke down some of these cookies because Rachel motherfucking Fiscus cooked some homemade cookies for us, and it's big trouble, but whatever.
And I'm a little.
We just worked hard, so we can have some cookies, right?
I'm disappointed though, because the thing about these cookies is that I worked really hard to perfect the cookie, like, even to like the way I put them down, like on the cookie sheet. And I went over to Liz and Warren's house this past weekend, and I said something about how good my cookies were, and Warren was like, "Psh, no one beats my cookies." And I was like, you know who you're talking to? It's Rachel motherfucking Fiscus.
You're
like,
a black belt cookie maker, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I know I'm a red belt cookie maker, all right?
Oh.
I'm like, I'm some serious shit.
Listen, these are good.
But
red belt.
Warren got in my head, though, because he's like, yeah, what kind of flour do you use? And I'm like, just normal flour. And he's like, I use cake flour. And so he got in my head, and so with these cookies I did half cake flour and half regular flour, and I think originally my cookie was better. This is still very good cookie, but not my.
Warren goes out there and chills.
And
the
Warren,
wheat.
I made these for Warren to
he
taste, so
grows the
Warren could
flour.
see that my cookie was better than his,
Picks
and
the
he's not
flour.
even here today.
Even show up?
He didn't even show up.
Maybe he's ducking
So
you.
Warren, it's on.
Maybe Warren's ducking you in your cookie making ability.
He knows that I'm better at that than him, all right? He might be a black belt, but I'm a red belt in making cookies, so.
All right.
Don't stand a chance.
Let's. I don't want to eat too many of these because.
I need a giant glass of milk.
So speaking of ducking, let's talk jiu-jitsu here. Who's ducking who in the jiu-jitsu world? And we got, what do we have coming up? We got
Orlando.
We got Gordon Ryan
That's what I was going to
versus
say. I'm gonna say Gordon Ryan's definitely ducking.
Barbosa, right?
I believe so.
Right.
Did you see that picture of him where it was like him and then when he got sick and then the picture like of them next to each other? Like there's a big difference. He lost a lot of muscle.
I think he just didn't have a pump. Like when you have a pump versus when you don't have a pump.
When you say pump, you mean steroids?
He's always on steroids. A pump is like when you're in the gym and you're lifting weights and,
of course.
and you have like like your muscles are all
He had
full of
absolutely
blood.
nothing though. I know when someone looks
When you're
swell
feeling,
or whatever.
when you're
but-
feeling like shit or whatever, or you haven't lifted in a few days or a week or whatever.
I mean, he looked like he was like on the streets for a couple of weeks doing crack or something.
Well, he probably was a little.
Sorry,
he was
Gordon
probably
Ryan.
a little
I'm
flat.
sorry.
I think that was intentional, like
So it's get in the
well,
head.
not intentional, but like to just show, like, make people think like you're down and out or whatever. But when at that type of level, that kind of shit, you could work out for 2 weeks straight, solid hard workouts, super clean diet, and you're gonna pop right back.
Yeah, no, and it looks like he already popped right
back.
back.
It happens to fighters all the time. You know, when you cut weight and look like you're chiseled out of stone or whatever. 2 weeks later, you look like a fat kid or something. That
I think the worst was like every time that I had to drop like 35 pounds to make weight, like I would be super shredded, but my neck would be super skinny. But then whenever I hydrated, dude, it's like that, and I'm back up to 170 pounds.
Speaking of Gordon Ryan, I heard he sent Nikki Rod flowers and was like, because I've been fucking you so hard, and like it was on Valentine's Day and everything, but then he sent them to the wrong address.
I don't know.
There was
is that true?
There was a lot of weird drama back and forth with them, and to be honest, like it definitely seems like the B team is winning the content war on that.
100%.
But obviously Gordon and those guys over at New Wave are like, they're just the top of the top and as far as competition and like, but I feel like the B team is, they embrace like,
they're fun.
They embrace that they're in second place. They embrace that they're, they're having a lot more fun, it seems like, but but to each their own. Everybody has their, things like, do you want to be the best in the world? It's like, and that comes with a lot of sacrifice, but I would rather be number 2 and having a lot of fun personally.
Same.
I think the B
100%.
the B team just seems
100%.
like they're just having a great time, That's what life's about.
I'm trying to go
if you
train
want to like leave that legacy of, I want to be the greatest ever, and it's like, I don't know.
I think
I'm gonna go train with the B team eventually. I'm coming. I'm going to Austin. It'll be the first time.
you could have in December.
But I'm gonna go, yeah, and I'm gonna make a big statement when I go. I'm Rachel motherfucking Biscuits.
That's right.
Slips on the mat.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise.
Well,
They'll like it.
Gordon versus Barbosa is coming up, and then Felipe Pena versus Nicholas Marigali on that same card. I
Is
believe
that
they're
the one in
co-main and
November?
main.
Yeah, and GSP is narrating it.
Yeah.
Isn't my girl Jasmine Rasha on that card?
I don't know.
She's
That's a
like my
UFC
favorite.
Fight Pass one.
It is. I just looked it up
I
to
think it
confirm.
is.
Yeah, that's a UFC Fight Pass one, and I'm excited to see. I just learned about Nicholas Marigali like earlier this year. I think when he started training with Gordon, maybe. But yeah, no, he's a beast too, and they have a very kind of similar marketing game. I don't know, or they just act similar. And I know a lot of people give Nicholas Marigali shit about like they're like, oh, you're just trying to be like Gordon or whatever.
I know the most recent like backlash that he had was he charged like $250 for a seminar, and some people's commentary to that was, how are you going to get these young people that have just started 2-3 years in, and you have a 19, 18-year-old kid who can't afford that, or even like a 16-year-old kid.
Well, you remember whenever Andre Galvo and Gordon was going at it, and he was all saying, you're charging your guys all this and this and this, and it just seemed like I don't know if that was like a social media like type like pitch or whatever to make the rival even worse, because like some of these guys, I think they do it just to kind of like get the shine even if it means like making more money, but look who's looking at what, whenever you're doing that.
I feel like Gordon Ryan does do a lot of that for showmanship, and I agree with you saying that the B team does it better because it's more engaging, but I feel like people, and even Gordon Ryan said it, that people want to see him lose, so they love the smack talking, and
it's gone to his head. Like people, like I was watching a thing with Gabby Garcia or whatever, and it's like they think they're untouchable, and they think that they deserve like certain the thing that I watched, it was like she didn't have to weigh in, but everyone else had to weigh in, and then Amanda Levy went and kicked her ass. It was nice, because she never loses.
I don't think they're untouchable, and they probably don't feel like they're untouchable either. But I think they know that they are definitely at the top of the game, and it's hard not to have that confidence when you have their track record, and they're basically like, being humble is for people who suck, and it's like and like with that shit talking, that level of shit talking, I think that also, like, you can't talk that level of shit and then not train, and it's probably a layer of accountability for themselves, it's like, if I'm talking all this shit constantly about this and that, like, I better go train, I better show up and train. And,
I'm always
back it up.
I'm always like rooting for the person that has better sportsmanship. I know like when you talk a lot, it's like, it gets people interested in the fight and all that stuff, makes more people want to watch and stuff. But if I see someone who's like, wow, that's like a good like sportsmanship, like they're being a good, there's a difference between like being humble and also being like a good.
Yeah, no, it's not my
opponent.
It's not my approach, but to each their own. And it's like if you're at the top, you're kind of who am I to say like that's the wrong way or whatever. It's
Well, you also have to think they're selling tickets.
That's what
that's
I'm
how
meaning.
Conor did
like,
it.
I hate him, and I hate Conor McGregor.
Conor
You
McGregor,
can't hate-
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah,
they've all
but-
done that
And he
shit.
also was a sore loser when he lost the
But
second time to
you can't
Poirier
hate
or
on
whatever.
somebody who has brought the revenue like he has to UFC because of like it's almost like the WWE. Like it's like
I
wrestling.
still don't like him.
Like somewhere around the lines.
You don't like who?
Conor McGregor.
No?
I think he's a douche.
Yeah, but look
How
at the
much of
money
that's
he's
real
brought.
and how much of that is show. And you're right, it does mention.
I think a lot of it's show. I think he's just a douche in general.
But he backed up a lot of what he said whenever he was champion.
Yeah, but did you see him lose? Like I hate when people
Your
are sore
wife's in me
losing.
DMs.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like that's freaking ridiculous.
Hey, it's
you know?
keeping that money train going.
And you can tell a lot about someone, like the way they handle losing. Like also, I mean, Gordon Ryan was like, oh, well, Nicky Rod was greasing up before. It's like, just accept the fact that you lost and you need to train harder and you need to come back and you win. And like, I have so much more respect for people like that. Like,
But
that
who
are,
is
like,
he as a real person though?
I think he's a douche.
I mean, no. I mean, he could be.
No, you see him cheating on his wife all the time with like getting out with like
Who are you talking about?
Conor McGregor.
Maybe his wife's cool with it.
I think she is, but
Okay,
still,
well, then that ain't
he's a
cheating then.
douche. Just get over it. Conor McGregor's a douche.
I don't know. These are a lot of allegations you're throwing.
I know.
out
I'm
here.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Conor McGregor.
I always see Conor McGregor. He's just like on his yacht with his pregnant ass wife.
thinks he's
and
so
lots of
cool
kids
with
everywhere
his
and just
yacht
in his
and-
underwear. Like
It seems like he's living the dad life. Honestly, take it from a dad.
No.
I mean, and the dude's worth like almost $1 billion. It's like, man,
I wish I could do an accent right now of his voice, and that would be more of a joke than Conor.
So good.
I like that guy the Poirier. Is that how you say his name?
Dustin
He's
Poirier.
and he's a good dude. Like he's
His hot sauce pretty good.
yeah.
I've never had
He's what did you say?
His hot
hot
sauce
sauce.
is pretty
He
good.
has a
Oh,
hot
I
sauce.
haven't had his hot sauce, but he just looks like, and not like him and his wife, like his adopted like two little African boys. And
That's
Nah,
Michael
that's
Chandler.
Oh, that's Chandler. Damn it.
And he ain't got
They
no
get
hot
them mixed
sauce.
up because they look so much
They
alike.
fought each other.
They look so much alike. Don't you think they
Did
look?
you watch their fight?
Yeah, I did, and they have
Did
the
you know
same
what was
tactic.
going on?
Poirier won. Okay, I did. All right.
I don't know. Chandler's nose is pretty flat. You can kind of tell the difference between him and Poirier.
They remind me
They
of
also
each
look
other.
completely different.
But I hope speaking of Chandler though, I hope when he fights Conor McGregor, he kicks his ass too. It's the end of
I hope
Conor
it's an Aldo
McGregor.
fight. I hope it's Aldo all over again.
That's
Just that whole like
Man,
one time.
I hope he
I'll
breaks
tell you
his
what.
shin.
I'll tell you what. I'm a big Conor McGregor fan, and watching him on the come up, man. I remember watching him fight Chad Mendez and winning the interim title, and then when he fought Aldo and just slept him in 14 seconds, boom. I remember just going fucking nuts watching that fight.
Oh man, he starched so many people, man, and
Yeah.
and didn't just starch them.
Called it.
Called it.
Yeah,
It was
there's a
just like
locker
Gordon
room.
Ryan.
And he had a lot of charisma, and he's got a
He
ton of
does have a lot of
personality.
charisma. I give him that.
Yeah, and fighters, for a lot of fighters, do not. That's why like Sugar Sean is so good too, because he has a personality. Like he's funny, he's personable, he sells himself, markets himself well, and he performs well.
Is this Strickland? The Sean Strickland?
Sean Strickland also has
Yeah.
a personality, and he
yeah.
his personality it rubs certain people the wrong way or whatever, but a lot of people are like big fans of his. He's got a huge fan base, and the fact that he's a good ass fighter and is now the champion, like it just if he sucked, he wouldn't be popular, but he would piss a lot of people off, but you have to be good as well if you're gonna have a personality.
Let me ask you this.
I mean, you can suck and have a personality. That's how I like
But no
make
one,
up.
but
Like
you're
in
not
life.
you're not gonna go that far.
Like in life, I'm always late, but I'm super nice and I'm super smiley. Like you can't be mad at me. Like it doesn't matter.
When I send you the other day, it's like when you're late, you should just say like "fuck off" or something.
No, it's like something. Oh my gosh, that was funny. It was like, I'm late because I don't give a fuck or something or.
Oh no, it was a Conor McGregor one.
Was
It was
it?
Conor McGregor meme.
Oh, is it the one where?
Yeah.
he's like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I gotta look that.
It
Yeah,
was
you're
a
right.
Conor McGregor.
The best thing I've ever seen from Conor McGregor.
Rachel motherfucking Fiskus is always late. Hands down, 15 minutes late minimum. And
I'm a teacher, and my students get to school before I do.
so I sent her a meme, and it was like the next time you're late, and it was Conor McGregor showing up to the press conference in his like Gucci like big coat.
He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Sorry, I'm late. I just don't give a fuck. And I was like, there you go. Next time you're late, just say that. Wow.
Who do you feel has had more of an influence? It could be with MMA or with jiu-jitsu, because there's like some element to like Joe Rogan having a huge impact of everybody being involved with that. And then my personal opinion was watching B Team, like when they post a reel, something funny, even El Segundo podcast is something I'll see clippets from.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people have had big impacts in the jiu-jitsu world. Joe Rogan especially, because there were so many times in the UFC with when fighters go to the ground or whatever, and just the ignorant fans, the ignorance of the fans, they're like, oh, just why are they on the ground? Let's stand them up. And it's like, no, you have no idea what's going on right now, and like the transitions, the setups that are being put in place right now. And Joe Rogan does such a great job at commentating and explaining what's going on the ground. And then obviously his podcast being so large and talking about jiu-jitsu pretty regularly. And then I think jiu-jitsu in general is just becoming more and more mainstream. But yeah, Gordon definitely has brought a lot of eyes to it. The B Team, I think, does a great job just with the comedy and stuff like that. And I mean, don't get it twisted, they're fucking awesome too. I mean, they were all a part of the same team, that Danaher Death Squad, and then split up or whatever.
But his little brother, like the J-Rod, is he 31 or is he 21?
Are you talking about
Nicky Rod's little brother. Is he 31 or is he 21?
Nicky Rod or Gordon?
No, I'm sorry.
They both have little brothers.
I'm not talking about Nicky Ryan. I'm talking about Nicky Rodriguez's little brother, J-Rod or whatever.
Yeah,
Is that his name? How old is he? Is he 21 or is he 31?
No,
21.
He's young.
He's a baby.
Yeah.
He's a baby. Okay.
Yeah, because he's Nicky's younger brother.
How old's that guy, the Damien? How old?
He can't be that old. I think he's probably under 30.
Yeah, I would say so.
He's younger.
He's probably 24 or 25. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. I could text him.
How old's Nicky Rod?
Nicky is also like 24, 25. Something
No
like
way. He looks older than that.
He's just got
It's all
good
them years,
genetics.
man.
Man, I'm old. They're
Yeah, those guys are pretty young.
like fresh meat.
Yeah,
I'll hit that. No, I'm just
Rachel,
kidding.
Lord.
I'm coming to Austin. Yeah. I'm going.
we're
You know, I
go,
like watching
we're
Daisy
gonna go
Fresh.
visit the B Team. Huh?
Daisy
I like
Fresh.
watching Daisy
That's
Fresh.
pretty
I like some of them
inspirational.
guys.
Speaking of that,
Who's that?
Who's that? They're that's where the Hillbilly Hammer and them came from.
and that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
They were out of a laundromat
Yes.
for the longest
A
time,
broken down
living out of their
laundromat.
cars and everything. There's people who moved from like Australia to train with these guys.
When I
Homemade
went
shed.
to
Where are they
ADCC.
out of? What state?
Illinois and in somewhere up
Is
in
it
the
Oklahoma?
No, I think that's a documentary, and they
Midwest.
do different people every time. I thought.
well,
No, they have a YouTube.
yeah. Now they have
YouTube,
like
okay.
a 4 or 5
seasons.
segment.
What's
yeah.
the name? The Hillbilly guy.
I don't know any.
The
of
Hillbilly
them.
Hammer.
So the Hillbilly Hammer, he submitted.
from Eastern Kentucky,
He
where I'm from.
was competing at the trials, and
He
like
won.
I got
He-
to,
he
yeah,
won
he
the
won,
trials.
and he like submitted everyone on the way there. But I had already left Atlantic City to get back home, but I watched the finals like on my phone on Flow Grappling, and he not only when he won did he get so excited, it was awesome. He like ran around the whole time and clapped everyone's hand. But at the very end, the two people were like were doing an interview with themselves, and he just came out of nowhere and got in between them and like was being funny, and he ended up putting the headphones on and doing an interview. And the things that he was saying was just so wholesome. It was like, I'm here because you guys got me here, like, from everyone. And like he was just so appreciative of his experience with jiu-jitsu, and it was like really cool to see him. Like that's who I like to cheer for. I like winners like that.
It's that southern.
It's
that
the southern,
southernness.
yeah, the southern.
Yeah,
don't let it fool you though.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Bless
sir.
his heart.
He worked hard for it. He like,
Good for him.
I mean, he rolled with Gordon.
Yeah.
He did. He did well.
No, but he actually went against him, and he got submitted from pressure. I
he
looked
was
that up the
tired.
other
It was
day.
like 20, 30 minutes into the fight.
Gordon's a lot bigger than
A
him.
lot
He's
bigger.
like 30
And
pounds
older, more mature. He's a kid, too.
30 pounds when you're exhausted. 10 pounds when you're exhausted is...
No, it's a
And
lot.
when you know how to use it too, like there's a difference. You use that pressure,
And Gordon is great with his game that I've noticed is most definitely breaking you down the longer the match goes on. A 15-minute match is a little bit, I feel like he's still going to be great, but it might, who knows. But if it's unlimited
Is that
time...
the steroids?
No, that's skill. You're just...
Or the testosterone, the extra testosterone?
Well, steroids only help you rebuild faster. That's all.
Okay, I would. Okay.
I mean, it definitely would
He's
has a
somewhat.
benefit to it for sure, but
I thought he was like 40 or 50. I didn't realize he's my
Gordon?
age. Yeah, I'm like, oh shit.
And
It's
look
because
at
he
everybody.
dyes his hair.
You got
He
J-Ron
dyes
was
it gray?
31.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
He doesn't really have gray hair.
No.
Come on, dude. Stop
Over.
dyeing your hair gray.
You want him to dye it like purple?
And he just go all natural, like me, all natural,
he is all natural, isn't he?
except for the roids.
Question mark.
Nicky Rod went and did all the blood work, and
plates, more
that was
days.
definitely an L for Gordon, in my opinion. Like, Nicky Rod definitely came out on top on that, and
And got a lot of publicity, like got
but
fans
like
and stuff.
it didn't make sense. Like it was like, hey, go do this, and he's like, okay, did it, and then it was like, ha, yeah, well, I don't believe that, and it's like,
Joke.
okay, like, and well, all right, we'll do this, like, and it just, the explanations that Gordon was giving just didn't make sense, like, like having him tested, all this stuff, and he's like, okay, well, yeah, sure, I'll do that, but give me money every time if I'm going to be inconvenienced like this. And it's like, oh, well, of course you don't want to be inconvenienced like this. And it's like, well, yeah, no, I don't. And
He has no room to talk. Like,
well, he's like, well, I don't claim to be natural, and Nikki does. And
Okay.
But Nikki did like a test right there, and more
Blood
plays, more
work, stool
dates. Yeah,
samples,
like
everything, the works.
he was like, yeah, it seems like he's a natural, clean person
High
or whatever.
cholesterol.
Yeah, high cholesterol.
yeah.
Had a little bit of
How is
turkey
it that
sausage
high?
in it for it.
Eats a lot of meat. I don't know.
Yeah. In and out every day.
All
That's all
that
race is
beef
about, all the
jerky.
meat.
Yeah.
And and I trained with Nicky Rod. I trained with Nicky Rod years ago in the Blue Basement and stuff when the Danaher Death Squad was all together, and Nicky was getting ready to go for ADCCs, and and MASF Supplements, my company, sponsored him in his first ADCCs, and I remember like he was like, I was like, yeah, we got protein, we got this and that. He's like, I don't really even do protein.
Me neither.
He was like, I
like
just
him.
like eat food or whatever.
He's like a D3 wrestler too. Not that
Yeah,
that's
he-
knock any division,
He
but
trained at Ferrum
I mean, we don't all
College.
need protein. I mean, I've got the body of a champion, and I live off Diet Coke and pizza.
You don't take protein?
No, I don't. I should. I'll just
What
start.
about massive supplements?
Yeah, of course, every day. No, I wish. I honestly, I think I need to get in a habit of like doing my greens and my reds every day, but because it's so good for you, and I don't like vegetables, so it would be I need it.
Yes,
but it's just the
smashing greens.
consistency of doing it long enough, like that you get that like the rewards from it. I'm like, oh, I'll do it once a month and feel great. No, I need to do it every day.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key with a lot.
You're not going to come to jiu-jitsu once a month and be good.
Speaking of consistency and correlations, I see a lot of like a pattern with Conor McGregor and Gordon Ryan.
What do you mean?
Like they're both on
Irish?
steroids and they're both
Oh.
douches.
No, Conor ain't on roids.
Connor's on a steroid.
How did he
that
get
was the
so
whole
big
USADA
though?
thing.
I
How
thought
do
he
y'all
failed
feel
the
about
test.
that? About
Yeah.
them, about
He failed the
UFC and
test.
USADA?
I think it's a great thing that
Me too.
USADA's gone.
Me too.
I
That was
think
ridiculous.
The fighters were complaining about that left and right, and I mean, just hearing some of these stories about them fucking coming to your house at 6 a.m, and like,
Conor McGregor failed his drug test though.
no, he didn't.
That's why he couldn't fight Chandler.
No.
he didn't enter into the USADA pool, I thought.
Oh,
Yeah, he
No,
just wasn't
I'm just
entered back
making
in.
assumptions. I
Which-
feel like
Which
a
is so
shitty
fucking
person.
stupid because, like, dude, if you think for one fucking second that like you break your leg like catastrophically like that, like he
you
did,
don't need something,
and you don't like, especially when you have the means like Conor McGregor does, like
your whole life.
That's true. Yeah.
I would be fucking out of that pool in a second and going down to the best doctors and being like, give me the best stem cells and fucking whatever the hell else, HGH, like
Amen
heal
to that.
my shit. Like your health is so important,
So
and
true.
like there's so many fighters that like, you know, like peptides, all these things, like testosterone, whatever, and it's like it should. I think the fighter should be at a healthy, optimal level. And, like, I don't give a fuck if they're on steroids or whatever. Like, there's always going to be people who are cheating the system or whatever,
that
getting
point.
ahead. And it's like, who gives a fuck? Just, I want to see people fight. And, like,
See the best that you can
I'm
be.
going to say it. Bring back the pride rules or the pride contracts.
I have a
or that
question.
question mark about steroids.
What would happen if I started like taking steroids? Would I get like grow
don't
a
fucking take
a-
bigger than
Would I grow a mustache
Women
and a penis
don't
or
wanna do
something?
that. Well,
Yeah,
you can go
like,
back and look at that.
there
Yeah.
are women that take steroids, and it's very obvious and it's very unattractive.
Yeah, I don't I would never take steroids, but I just like, yeah, what does it do to a woman though?
It turns you into a dude. Like,
That's what I thought.
basically.
You got
That's what I thought.
testosterone in your
It
body.
turns you into an ugly ass fucking girl. Like,
Totally.
like, your voice gets deeper. They get fucking mustaches, and you know,
do girls do steroids? Like,
Yeah.
their
And what do
Bodybuilders.
steroids? Okay,
their
guys.
fucking clits like start to grow, like
like a mini penis.
yeah, like a little micro. Dick.
I was gonna say they sprout a penis.
Basically.
And then-
their
Yeah.
clit starts to grow.
What like
It's fucking gross.
are there?
Ugh.
Are there like? How do you take it? Do you inject it?
Yeah,
Do you?
and like
Well, there's a
throw
whole
away
bunch
through
of
the
different
butt,
ways
in the
Okay.
arm, injections, patches.
I had to take. I've had.
Rachel's wanting to.
I've had a lot of
notes.
cavities.
Rachel comes in here with
I had
Fu
to take
Manchu.
steroids once because I had a root canal.
That's not the same.
What did you say?
I said Rachel comes in with a Fu Manchu.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Jacked as shit.
I'm already jacked as shit. Okay.
Where's Will?
I don't need. Roids. I don't know.
Warren said my cookies suck. I should have, motherfucker.
No way. Yeah, I don't need steroids. All right.
We're just gonna.
wanna
Rachel's gonna start bullying everybody at the gym. I have to have a talk with her. Hey, Rachel, come. You've been a little aggressive.
You know what a
lately.
fireman's carry is?
Yeah.
I'm about to. well, if you
You're
don't,
about
I'm
to
gonna.
find
Yeah,
out.
you're about to find out. Oh God.
How do you feel about younger athletes then that will like? So the thing about steroids, I think they should be used, but they should be regulated, especially for that profession. If that's what you're gonna do, I think some like Shel Sonnen said it best, where he worries about you doing 2. Oh, well, I'm gonna do 4, and the next guy's gonna do 10, and it becomes abused, and that's the hard part.
Yeah, I think
the question is it healthy for you?
I think they're you
you
know.
can be performing better, but it might not be healthy for you, even though you're performing
I
better.
think there's things like
Long-run
testosterone,
terms.
you know, ranges. You know, it's like, okay, if you're showing up like in a healthy range, like whether you are doing that through TRT or whatever, like, but you can't show up at 2,500. You know, your test levels at 2,500 or whatever.
Mitch,
and it's
do you
like,
take steroids?
no, I
You
don't
got a
take
lot of
fucking
testosterone,
steroids.
though. I'm just saying.
Hey, I got a lot of testosterone.
you do
that's
got.
for sure.
I can see that. Yeah.
No, steroids. I've never been a fan of steroids just because I've seen a lot of organ failure, that kind of shit. You know,
And
it's not.
Well, especially if like you're doing it like some of these guys nowadays.
Like Tren
You
and that
know.
kind of shit.
That's what I'm
Tren,
saying.
They're
Becca,
like trying to get huge though. Like they're doing.
that's not healthy for
HGH,
you.
steroids.
I've never been interested in doing kind of steroids like Tren and Deca and these kinds of things because I've seen bodybuilders that like I've been to Mr. Olympia and shit like that.
Yeah.
And
IBJJF.
when
or
you
not
when you go to like yeah, it's like IBF
International
or
Bodybuilding
whatever the fuck it
Federation.
is, yeah.
IBBF. Yeah.
Yeah, IBBF. So we sponsored some athletes and, you know, went to some of these events, and every event starts out, they've got like 10 new people that passed away at 40, you know, and it's like,
See, it's not
Well,
good.
now
for
it's in
you.
the
they're
20s.
all jacked as fuck, you know, huge bodybuilders, and they're all dying at like in their upper 30s, lower 40s, and, you know, and everybody's just like, man, great dude, you know,
See,
and
and
it's
that's-
like,
Well,
That's
Dude,
why there should be regulations
they
if it's
live.
hurting them
that
in
shit
the long
is
run.
so hard on your organs and your and your body and shit.
but see, a lot of them, because I do watch a lot of documentaries on that kind of stuff. Because at one time before I became like into fighting or anything, I wanted to be a bodybuilder, just because my lifts and everything were going up, but my weight was not going up. And I knew the only way that I'd be able to even get close to the guys of like even my height, like Lee Priest and them, they're like 300 something pounds and they're my size. I'm 5'5". I'm fucking nothing, dude. And they're on everything you can think of. Insulin, HGH, all that shit. But they know that shit. They know that they say that every, what is it they say? They know that the risk of that is taking a year off your life every single time.
It's not
how
worth
much they're
it.
putting. They think it
not worth
is.
it.
They think it is. They think it's worth dying at 40 years old.
How many years would y'all take off? Like, let's say, like to win like an ADCC like world like championship or what, or like a title that big.
Zero.
Would you be willing to take any years of your life? Yeah,
fuck
fuck
that.
that. Yeah,
No,
You
but
could-
fuck that.
you know, it's
Yeah.
funny. One of my best friends, Cody, he told me he would trade 10 years of his life to go to the moon or to like outer space or whatever. And I was just like,
That's his goal, I guess.
Dude,
like,
there's so much shit on
If
Earth
you're that
already
passionate
still.
about
Fuck
it.
and I
that.
was like, what, dude? Are you crazy? I was like, first of all, you could like you could become an astronaut in less than that time. You know?
They're not sending people to the
Yeah, and
moon.
still
though.
go to the moon or go to outer space. But I'm like, yeah, no.
Speaking of bodybuilders, there's a interview with what's his name, Schwarzenegger or whatever.
Arnold?
And he's so funny. He's like in his Croatian accent. He's like,
He's Austrian, my friend.
Oh, I thought he was Croatian.
No.
All right. Well, same thing. Eastern Europe. Okay, Eastern Europe. And
Same thing.
he's like, I'm gonna get super jacked so I can become an actor. And then once I'm an actor, I'm gonna go into politics. And basically, so basically that was his game plan.
So he
like
nailed
he
it?
was like, I'm gonna get real strong, so people are gonna know me, and then I'm gonna run the world. And
I mean,
but
that's
he
your
didn't.
goals.
He
He
didn't
did
make
it,
it
and
too far.
he might have cut 10 years off his life. I don't know, but
Well, remember the beginning of the podcast?
He's in his 70s or something.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
he's
talking
70
about?
He's 74.
No way.
Stallone is actually older
He
than
looks
is
better
by
than
a
Gordon
year.
Ryan or whatever. his name is.
Stallone
did
looks better
steroids.
than Arnold does now. And that's weird. And he's older than he is by a year. But Pumping Iron.
Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
Great documentary.
Oh.
Is
Absolutely.
that so? Y'all know exactly what I was talking about.
Dude,
Yeah. Okay.
If you were raised in the era of the 80s, there is no way in hell that you don't know about the real actors, the real action stars.
Action heroes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, Seagal,
What's
Norris.
that movie that they're
Kindergarten Cop.
No,
jingle all the way.
no, the movie with like the it's like the Avengers, but like with all
Oh, the
Expendables.
Expendables.
Yeah,
Expendables. Yeah.
They're like older in that movie, but like if there was an Expendables back in their prime, like that.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Oh, that would have been awesome, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
totally.
but that's a problem though. Like, look at we grew up looking at those guys as like these are action heroes. They're fucking jack dudes who are like manly men,
Yeah.
And now it's like fucking. You've seen like Spider-Man's, like the new
Yeah,
I
Spider-Man's
know,
and
I
shit.
know.
It's like
It's pathetic.
I love that meme.
I
What
could
is the
kick
comparison?
Spider-Man's
this
ass.
fucking dude's like you don't even know this guy's fucking pronouns. You know what I mean?
I know. It's so lame.
But you know what? I think that's what also has made our generation
Toxic
like in
masculinity.
that we're not toxic, that we're masculine. You know,
It's a
we were
shame.
raised in an era of that.
Dude, it's becoming just more and more like just I don't know,
And-
weak as fuck.
And
hell
it's,
yeah.
It's
Beta as fuck, weak as fuck.
Yeah.
I even talk to my kids because they talk about bullying and stuff like that. I'm like, man, whenever I got bullied as a kid, like I stood up for myself because I knew I would get my ass whipped if I didn't. At least for that. But like, my dad was never mean or anything. It was just more like, don't let somebody just push you around.
Yeah, duh.
You know,
Or
because
even like just having a conversation about certain things, where some people just will immediately turn and blast everything, and they're not just going to sit and talk it out.
This
and
is
be like
like-
how you feel, and it's just like you run into that problem. And
Dude,
This is super random, but even like, big companies and stuff like birth control or like pharma, supposedly the hormone, like when women, like a lot of women take birth control, there's something in there that like attracts the women, I think, to like more like estrogen or something weird like that. So it's like they're even attracted to less.
they're turning the frogs gay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly though. But it's like, like
Adam Jones.
we need to let
Alex
men be
Jones.
men
Jones,
and
sorry.
let women be women. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like I like jiu-jitsu. Maybe that's not like a girly thing to like, but I'm a fucking woman, I want,
Yeah.
I want who like to feel like a woman. And I think
Yeah,
the new generation
they're
is different.
They are definitely constantly trying to merge the genders, like to
I
be
hate it.
as much as one, you know, and they're pushing all of this shit.
I'll
That's
go-
the globalists.
I'll
the
go
elitists.
back
They
to where we
want
didn't
they
have to
want
work.
to reduce the population, and they're doing it like by lots of ways, by jabs, by
I mean, I'll take my right to vote.
decreasing fertility in
Mosquitoes.
both men and women, and like literally trying to put hormone disruptors in every fucking thing you consume.
Yeah.
And like the average testosterone level for like a young man today, it's something like the average testosterone level of a man in his 70s back like 40 years ago is the same as the new average male in their 20s testosterone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Think about it
it's-
though. 200 years ago, I mean, we were all hunter and gatherers. So it's like you were actually like going in like you had to protect your family or your
there were no
tribe or
fucking
whatever.
pronouns back
And there was
then.
no fucking pussies. Like, and I hate to say that word, excuse me, but yeah.
Please do.
Like,
We also don't have a bunch of distractions. Like as when we were younger,
Yeah,
it was
social
always
media.
we were playing
go
outside, yeah.
Now I will say that's the one thing that like from somebody who has kids, it is awesome that my kids go out and they play a lot. They're not stuck with a freaking game system in their face. They get it on the weekends, and even then they still go out and do stuff. You know, but whenever I see parents who sit there and literally are like, whatever, always constantly on electronics, and it's like, dude, where's like you're literally creating a weaker, because I like.
so there's this kid and I think from the UK, and the mom, I guess, just put her in front of, there's a little show called Miss Rachel. My brother plays it for his little girl. And I guess Miss Rachel, teaches you the ABCs, teaches you this and that and everything. And it's a YouTube show. Well, anyway, this little girl from the UK watched Miss Rachel so much that she ended up growing up and didn't have a UK accent. She had an American accent. And everyone was like, what the hell? But it was because she watched Miss Rachel's like YouTube channel, like,
I feel like
on repeat.
exposure is really, really good and important with growing up. So
100%
back to, like, sports and even relating
experience.
that back to jiu-jitsu.
Opportunity.
yeah.
I feel like the bulliness and not putting up or even finding comfort and discomfort. And, I hate to say it, like whatever problems you have that day, you don't really have any problems when somebody's trying to choke you. All your problems are going away in that moment.
Well, that's
jiu-jitsu
why
is-
at school we need to teach kids, like, honestly, learning problem-solving skills is more important than, geometry.
I say all the time, jiu-jitsu is excellent. It's very therapeutic in a way because it forces you to be present.
100%.
Because like while you're
Optimal
rolling, you have an immediate threat and problem, and you need to be all focused on it, or there are serious consequences if you're not. So it forces you to be present, and
That's like you live in the moment. And I got my degree in recreational therapy, and so it's like all about like therapy through like your leisure time, and it's so true. We talked about optimal flow, and it's like that perfect balance where it's like you're so focused, you can't think about anything else, because the second you think about something else, something goes wrong, and it's like you truly are living in the moment, and it helps you like navigate through life. Like,
I think it's great for mental
yeah.
health for that reason
100%.
too. It's also you're dealing with adversity, and it's camaraderie forming. You're going through this adversity with other people on the mats. You're all speaking the same language. There's a common denominator, so it doesn't matter what your background is, what your beliefs are, what your race, age, gender, none of that. Like, you're all here doing jiu-jitsu. You're all speaking the same language, and you're all doing these problem solving, facing adversity, physical activity and exercise. It's a great way to burn up that anxiety that people face, so much of. And so I think it's excellent for mental health.
I don't even think you have to speak the
more
same
kids,
language.
yeah.
Because I've been
You
to
don't.
France. I've
No,
been
You
to
don't.
Mexico,
that's what
and,
I'm saying is you're speaking the same language, like metaphorically. Like,
Yeah, that's-
you're speaking the same language. The common denominator is jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it then, because
You also
can
don't even
walk
need your
everywhere.
fucking eyes.
Yeah.
You
just need to
literally
feel.
don't.
You need to.
It's all by feel, And sometimes, I'll roll with my eyes closed often,
I had
I'm the same way sometimes.
I had a horseback
Shut your
rider
eyes and just
instructor.
feel it.
and sometimes I'll tell my students to, close your eyes this round, and they'll do better.
Guys, you can do anything blind. I mean, do you see? I used to, when I worked for the National
Even
Sports
drive.
Center for
You can't
tape.
do
No,
anything
listen.
blind.
When you don't understand.
land
Yes,
the plane
guys.
blind.
All right, close your
Yes,
eyes.
you can.
Rachel, close your eyes. How many fingers am I holding up?
Okay, like seriously, let me see. No, but I used to work for the National Sports Center for Disabled, and we did a lot of rock climbing interventions for the blind. And I was like a learning experience because the first time I was like, yeah, just go right over there by the river or whatever. And my supervisor was like, Rachel, they're blind. You need to be more specific. But anyway, they were getting higher than probably all of you guys could rock climbing. And it was like they had no fears. And I would be like, oh, there's a little like crease like to the like
that
to the
makes
right or
sense.
whatever. And they were like, I don't want your help. And anyway, they're very successful. There's this guy named Eric who started a nonprofit.
That makes sense.
He hiked Mount Everest and he's blind. Like
yeah, but, like,
these people are so inspiring because
I'm saying, yeah,
I
that
get it.
obviously makes sense because if you were blind, how the fuck would you know if you were climbing Mount Trashmore or Mount Everest? You know what I mean?
And you know what? The fear thing, like
the smell,
how
the
the fuck,
sound of the animals, the feel of the snow,
oh yeah, you got some animals hanging out in the rock cliff.
your Sherpa's accent. Like,
So
come on.
I'm just saying it wouldn't matter at that point. Yeah, and like the fear, like of climbing things, like I'm afraid of heights. So like I know like when you get up high and shit, you're like, oh fuck, that is so far down.
That's why they
Whatever.
tell you not to
But-
look down.
But if you're blind, you don't fucking. It's the same difference if you're 2
And I
feet
wonder,
up or 20,000.
if you're blind and you fall, not knowing where you fell from,
It's still gonna hurt.
I ain't saying that, but what's your thought process and when you're falling? If you can see
depends on how long you're falling.
Exactly, but if
you
you can
still
see
know
it,
you're
shit's
falling.
you know,
That's a feeling. That's you don't have to see. You can feel when you're falling.
I'll tell you what.
You feel
yeah, but
the
how
same
far
way.
though?
I'll tell you what.
You don't
so-
know how
Might
far
be rushed.
you're falling.
So the first time I went skydiving, right? And again, I'm afraid of heights, so I was not digging this. I was not looking forward to it. But I was
Sorry, getting cramp.
like, what?
I know. I was like,
Hamstring.
So the first time I went skydiving, I jumped out, and was like, ah! And you're expecting because everything.
that's what I sound like when I'm rolling.
in your life, like in a daily, or not daily basis, but in your life, like when you jump off of things, most times it's like a pretty sudden thing. It's like jump, boom, land. It's like not that long of a air time.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like that's what you're kind of used to and expect, or like, at least that's where I was.
why I'm
And
so
then
scared.
when I jumped out of the airplane, and it's just like ah,
But it doesn't stop.
and then it's like, oh shit, I'm still falling. Ah!
That's
Like,
why
and
I'm
you're
so
falling
scared.
for like a fucking minute straight.
You ever watch Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure? Whenever they're falling to hell and they're doing exactly what you just did. They're like screaming and then they're like, oh,
That's why I'm
how
so.
far? But what I'm saying is like my experience. We used to jump off rock cliffs all the time. Like in Eastern Kentucky, we have a place called Yakesville Lake. Jump off rocks, and the air time you can feel it. You feel like you're almost like you're floating. But I wonder.
But I mean, you're jumping from a plane. That's
Yeah,
a big
but even
difference.
I've jumped from like there's a tower out here that's like 13 miles off the coast, and it's 65 feet, and you're only in the air for 2 seconds or two,
Yeah,
two,
well,
3
the
seconds.
first
or
time.
something.
Yeah, you're like
ours
in the
is
air for
above
what, like
dam, so I
7
don't know how
minutes
tall
or
that
something
is.
when
It's
you
like
skydive?
100-something feet.
Well,
How long
you're
does it
free
take?
falling for a minute.
And then so how long from the plane to your feet touch ground?
Yeah, like 7 or 8 minutes.
See, that's why I'm so scared of
Depends
skydiving.
on, like when you're
but one
under
day I will.
canopy, you can drag that out, or you can like spiral down quick.
Mitch, can you take me skydiving?
Sure.
I'm like terrified to do it. That's like the one thing that I'm scared of that I haven't done yet. I've done a lot of stuff, but that's the one thing
Pretty
I haven't
terrified
done.
of the cold plunge.
Yeah, the cold plunge is. I'll go skydiving.
Are you gonna give me the same reaction you did in the
I will
cold
go
plunge?
skydiving before I do 3 minutes in the cold plunge.
Remember,
But
once you jump out the plane, that's
I'm
it.
terrified. But you know what I like to look at
back.
it like? My little puppy, I had chocolate lab, Bowie. He's he's a handful. But anyway, he was so scared of like swimming at first, but then on the other side of his fear is now his greatest passion. There's nothing that dog loves more than to swim. So I feel like I would like it. I mean, I was terrified to start jiu-jitsu at first, but now it's like, dude, I'll quit my job for jiu-jitsu. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, so it's like on the other side of your fear, a lot of times you find your passion or
Sure.
something, you
Yeah,
know?
we can go skydiving.
I would love to. And don't tell me what we're doing.
I
Just
took
just
Monica.
Blindfold her.
take me, yeah. Or just
we
be
went
like, we're
for
going.
Monica's birthday. We went.
So when you do it, I just need you to like pick me up and just don't tell me what's going on and just we're doing it. And it's probably going to be the same thing with the ice bath where you're going to have to give me some pep talk, but you're good at that. So
All right, we'll do it.
I'm terrified. On my brother's 18th birthday, he like kept asking. He was like, wanted me to ask him what he did, and I was just like ignoring him. I just got home from school. I was like, went in the front door. He was like, aren't you gonna ask me what I did today? And I was like, fine, Brett. What did you do today? He was like, I went skydiving. Like, yeah, you had someone attached to you.
Skydiving, even like you know, like I said, I've got probably 150 plus skydives, and each time I'm like, God damn it, why am I doing this? I fucking just 'cause I hate heights, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
When I was in,
But I do. That's like part of the reason why I go once in a while and do it is just because you gotta just
get over that fear, man.
you just gotta
Absolutely.
you gotta get over it and not let it control you. You know.
Still makes me wonder about what
gotta
blonde people
override
think
it.
when they're falling.
when I was
Just close your eyes. And
Yeah,
jump
right.
off.
Just jump off. All right.
when I was in Peru, they called it paragliding, but basically it was like you were sitting in this thing with this guy, I guess controlling this like propeller with it was not safe, but I did it, and you're like way up in the air. I would have been so much safer skydiving. Like, I don't know why, you know what I mean? Like that skydiving is actually really like, you should trust you can trust good equipment, you know? And so it's like, I've done some really stupid shit where I'm like, man, skydiving would have been a lot safer, you know?
No, I've definitely, I remember when I first, started skydiving, it was in the SEAL teams, and they make you pack your own parachutes. And like I was like, I don't fucking know shit about this. Like I don't want to pack my own parachute. Like,
I don't want my life to be in
I
my
want
hands.
this fucking professional right here who's packed thousands and thousands of parachutes. I want that guy to pack my parachute, and I trust him much more than I trust myself to pack this parachute. But no, you have to pack your own parachute every time.
So when you started, because I've talked to like some people that were like in the military, and it's like almost like the first time that they went skydiving, they did it on their own, like instead of having someone.
No,
is that how you did it, or how did you?
My first jump was solo.
Do you have someone like by you to be like, press the button or whatever it is?
You have to pull the cord.
The
In the
cord.
military, you have to pull the cord. But
Why isn't it working?
I would pull it too soon.
That's your only requirement to pass your
So-
first jump is that you actually pull your own parachute.
So the thing is, though, is like I have like
But two people jumped out with you for your A license. Like that's your first.
Are
jump.
they able
So-
to stay with you the whole time? Are they able
Yeah.
to control themselves to
for
stay
sure
with you?
because these people are experts and like it's just like anything like in the sky, and some of these people, like I remember one of the instructors, I can't remember his name, but he's done all like the movies like Point Break, anything with skydiving in it, he's like the man for it. And he's got like over 2 weeks of free fall time that logged.
Wow.
So like when you jump, it's like like I said, 1 minute of free falling, and then you log that in your jump log,
Jeez.
and he has a total time in free fall like 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, that's
so
crazy.
so many jumps.
What would happen if you passed out, like your first?
So you have
Would they be able to save you?
You have a device called a Cypress that basically it can register the altitude and your speed, your velocity. So if you are falling below, like you set your Cypress at whatever, let's say it's 2,000 feet. And if you are going below, if you're below 2,000 feet and you're still going at a velocity of whatever, then it detects that and it will automatically fire your reserve parachute.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Oh, I didn't
know
that
that.
makes me
That's
would make me
Yeah,
feel a lot
so,
better.
So if you were to pass out or something like that, but when
I'm
you're
definitely
going,
probably gonna pee my pants.
when you're going for your A license, you jump with, your first jump is with two, pros, and they jump out with you. So all three of you are falling, and they're just falling. One's in front of you, and then one's like, just on the side of you. And they will help you get stable if you're not stable or whatever. And they'll like look at you and, just make sure you're not freaking out and make sure you have good body position. And, then they'll give you reminders of like, hey, check your altimeter, do your practice touches.
As
and
a
stuff like
civilian,
that.
can I do it that way, or will I have to get someone to jump with me the first time?
So if you just want to go and just go skydiving for a day, then you're going to have to go tandem, which is when you're attached to somebody. And you don't have to go through any classes or anything. It's just, hey, this is what's going to happen. Don't freak out. Try not to, flail around too much. Just, arch and You know, that's basically all the brief they give you.
You were gonna laugh.
But if you want to do it by yourself, that's when you go for your A license, and then you have to go through like an actual, course.
And so I could sign up for that.
You can do it on your own, right?
No, your
Not if
first,
you do it,
your
that was
first
my
jump
question.
is your first jump is a solo jump. It's with 2 other instructors, but you're gonna have to sit through classes and go through all the practice, body positions and all that stuff.
Could you do tandem with or do you have to have a license for that?
Yeah, I'm not qualified for tandem jumps.
Do you have to have like enough log time or something?
You have to have like a certain amount of jumps, and then it's like I want to say like a D license or something.
Okay.
Like that.
No, it's gonna be ridiculous because I'm gonna be very dramatic the whole time. I'll tell you that.
I could jump out like with you.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
we can go up in the same plane, and you'll be attached to somebody.
I mean, you're gonna have to push me out of the plane.
No, you'll be attached to them.
Yeah, I know, but they're gonna have to like grab my arms or something because I'm gonna be like,
I'll be right in front of you or right after you.
You probably want to go after because I probably won't get off the plane if you go in front of me.
How many G forces are pushing on you when you're falling like that?
I don't know.
I don't think that's the thing. That's only with
I
you're
think it's
flying.
Like terminal velocity.
Okay.
No, yeah,
I think that's only when you're
have-
flying.
When you're flying, and essentially you have some sort of force that creates the directional turn. So like,
Because I know on a car it does that. Like if there's some G forces.
That was a smart statement, Timothy.
well, so fun fact,
Timothy's
I
a
flew planes.
Timothy's a smart individual.
For fun. I actually got a lot of my.
That's cool.
So COVID had hit when my pilot was 65, and so I couldn't finish my check rides, and then I moved away. And it's kind of far to go do it. And I just haven't gone back to do it, but
Yeah,
You should do it.
I have like 10 hours of my private pilot's license,
So-
and
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
I never finished it either.
I need the check ride, and that's really it. And then so I flew. Actually, it's this one. It was a PT-19. So I learned it was an acrobatic plane.
So Nora, she's a brown belt here. She works for NATO. Super cool. And it was when the air show was going on, and she was like, "Oh, I've got to go to the air show." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I lived in Virginia Beach my entire life. I've never been to the air show. Like, I'll go with you." And it was really cool because she was really, really knowledgeable about. Because I guess she wanted to be a pilot before. She's like, "It's crazy. You go to Germany, and like there's like literally probably like 5 pilots for the entire country, whereas like here, especially in a military town, you talk to everyone and everyone's a freaking pilot." But she was telling me, because she was like I said, she was really knowledgeable about the different types of plane and then about the G-force that you were talking about. And it's like when the plane are going straight up like that, it's like seven times their
7 Gs?
yeah,
It depends
7
on the plane,
Gs. So like
too.
7 times their body weight feels like it's on your chest.
What was it? Tito did like 9 G's or something, and his face turned all crazy, and then he passed out.
I had
They
no
have-
idea
they
that
have
was a
to,
thing.
Yeah, the pilots have to like breathe through their teeth and stuff like that, and like really force themselves to keep
Clench their
breathing,
butt.
or they'll pass out.
That's wild.
It's something that definitely.
And what happens if they pass out? They're the only one in the plane.
There's autopilot and stuff.
But a lot of times I thought they're the only one in the plane. Oh, the plane flies itself.
Yeah, there's like sensors that will pick up and take over.
They
That
heavily
makes
go through
sense.
training to be conditioned both. And I've never done any type of military training, just from people I've talked to. They're very good at what they do.
That's
And
awesome.
they put a lot of money in to make sure that they are constantly like building up. It's not like they get thrown to the highest thing first.
Yeah.
I mean, they do go. I don't know the actual equipment where they
Crawl,
spin
walk,
around.
run.
Yeah, see, that's how it should be.
It's like the Wright brothers, jumping on the side of the plane. It's like, where's the cabin at? Nowhere. It's just a stick, man. Just drop it. It's got a motor. It's got some wings.
It's chill,
Got a
YOLO.
lawnmower.
You need,
Yeah,
you need innovators.
Oh yeah,
You do.
It takes. I mean, it just takes the right time, movement. I mean, even just how far they went in a matter of like such a few small time. We had the
The Wright brothers, that was in the early 1900s,
Wasn't
right?
that long ago?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 1990.
100 years, look at where we're
Something
at.
like
From right down the street, basically, North Carolina.
And just imagine, like, once AI is a thing and, like, really, like,
It's going to...
I don't even like
when,
thinking
when
about
it's
autonomous.
really involved, and when AI is really involved and it's just kind of unleashed and stuff, I think they're going to... AI is going to figure out new laws of physics.
Yeah, so
That's
AI
wild
is,
to even
is
think
good
about.
and bad. There's some, it just depends on how you look at it and what it does. My master's is in cyber, so that was actually one of the cool things we've discussed. it could be a great thing. It could teach you how to make or do something that'll predict the best outcome, or be used for.
It's enable students as well.
It's not gonna be better or worse. I think it's gonna be both, and I think it's just gonna be different. It's like, look at life now versus 50 years ago or before the internet. And it's like you could argue for reasons why the world is much better with internet and why it's much worse.
And jobs and stuff. Yeah.
And it's just changed a lot, and that's what I think it's going to be like with AI.
What I'm worried about,
for some things, it's going to be like life changing, different, and amazing, and in other ways, the complete opposite. And
what I'm worried about, like especially as a teacher, I mean, you guys remember like some of those things, those hardships that we had to do. I mean, hardships make you a stronger person for sure. It definitely builds character. But like now these kids can use AI for homework and for writing assignments and all that stuff. Like if you really want to see how a student can write, you have to give it to them and like watch them do it. But when you write from your own word, it's like you're like being creative. You're coming up with your own perspective. Like it's good to.
Don't you think math teachers and shit, like even in the 80s or 70s, like calculators, you don't rely on your calculators.
Well, it seems like we're going back because I tell you right now, you look at my kids.
None of my elementary school students aren't allowed to use.
Well, it's just it don't make sense. Like, okay,
why you have a calculator with you?
I know, and I think that's so stupid. And you're right. I will give them a calculator.
It does make you like more reliant on that technology, and you don't actually know it yourself.
You should be able to do simple addition and simple subtraction, be able to count money and all that stuff. And these days, kids are so lazy.
Like,
don't even talk to me about the tape measure because no one freaking knows the numeric system because the whole rest of the world uses the metric system. So it's the stupidest thing. It's like, come on, America. Supposedly 1992.
That's why we're American.
Supposedly,
that's why we're number one, baby.
No, I disagree.
We're 200 pounds,
pounds of twisted sex appeal.
If you want to know, if y'all want to know the real truth, I guess like in
88 fucking kilos, my ass.
In 1992, which was the year I was actually born, I guess they tried to switch to start using the metric system here, and so that like they were doing like kilomile, whatever it's called.
They probably drank Bud Light.
No. But what happened was everyone was like, because everyone was driving and the speed limits were either all in kilograms. Is that what you would say? Kilometers. Whatever. Okay, I'm American. I'm American. God damn it. But anyway, we couldn't handle it. Everyone was just like losing their shit.
Can you read a tape measure?
Yes, I can read a tape measure. I can tell you the numeric or the metric system. All right. But what I can't do is convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. So like, let's make this.
Or can't?
I'm gonna have to use a calculator. But it should be easier.
Doing the thermostat. Or
I can't. I don't know Fahrenheit to Celsius.
It's a hard one. There's a little formula.
I know 0 and 32.
Yeah, there's a formula. And
and that would make sense to me if it was just 0 and 32, and it was like, okay, then one, it must be 33. Like 1 degree Celsius is 33 degrees
No, it's
Fahrenheit,
not.
But
No,
it's
I
not
know.
the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
That's also why the metric system makes so much sense because it's in tens. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just makes more sense. And it just, we want to be different.
Do you know
how
many feet are in a mile?
How many feet are in a mile? It's like 1,600, around 1,600. That's how many meters are in a mile.
Is 5,280?
Well, then that would be yards.
All right,
I think you're thinking of yards.
Yes, it's 16. It's like it's 1,600 yards in a mile.
A yard is different than a meter.
What's the difference? I know the difference. I teach math.
A meter is
how many feet?
Longer than a yard.
How many feet is 1 meter?
It's like 3.3, right?
And a yard is what?
3 feet.
3. Yeah, good job.
Yeah. Thanks.
A on this test.
You get a star. You get a gold star. No, but seriously, like, if you look at like the way my kids do, like, so this is my oldest son, because he's 13, and you see the formulas that they do now to get the answer to something as simple as algebra. It's stupid, man. Like it's so dumb. They make this huge formula into something that we used to do. It's
like jiu-jitsu. There's multiple different ways to get to the right answer. It's just making sure you get to the right answer.
I watched a kid.
But no, some of those formulas, like when you're doing long multiplication, long division and stuff, there's this thing I can use, there's this strategy I can use, and there's that strategy. Just figure out what works best for you and gives you the correct answer.
Yeah, but the problem is these teachers want the formula written out. in this big
Show
long
your work.
bullshit.
Yeah, if we fucking want it worked out. Because if not,
that.
they're just gonna copy the person
Go
next
back
to
to
them.
old
GPT.
Yeah. Go back old school. You can still get the same answer, but shorter formula.
No, see, the way I say it is I don't care what formula you do as long as you show your goddamn work.
We've barely
and put your
talked
fucking
about
name on the
Jiu-jitsu. We
worksheet.
barely talked about jujitsu.
I know, but speaking of jiu-jitsu though, it's like the same concept. Like, okay, I'm going.
Show your work.
I'm going.
Show your work.
I'm going. You know,
You got to show up on time though.
I don't
I'm
show.
one to
I
talk.
don't. I'm a teacher and I still don't show up to school on time. So I'm the last one in, the first one out. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, like as long as like we have a goal in mind, all right, there might be different objectives to get to that goal. As long as we achieve our goal, then I mean, you're getting it done. You know.
Well, in jiu-jitsu, the goal never ends. It's like continuous.
Like how am I
even
gonna?
as a black belt, it feels like I'm starting all back over again to a white belt and stepping in and being like, man.
Like I might
me and Mitch
not
talk
put
about it
my
all the
elbow in
time.
there, but I got out. You know, it's like, all right.
Have you ever heard of? I believe it's like finite games and infinite prizes, and it's the idea that there are people who are looking to just get their blue belt, get their purple belt, win the next match, but you're looking to get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mistake that a lot of people need to do.
I think that's the difference between a lot of people too.
I feel like I've seen the percentages somewhere. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but it's like a certain percentage of people will make it to blue belt, and then a certain percentage to purple and brown, black, whatever. But it's I feel like a lot of people they get that blue belt, and then that's like, you know, I know jiu-jitsu.
I refuse to be a statistic.
I know jiu-jitsu, and they just like, it stops becoming, you know, I think they fantasize about getting that belt. They get like kind of fixated on getting that first, you know, I want to be a blue belt. Like everybody's a white belt, you know, day one you show up, you get a white belt. Like that's not anything impressive or whatever. And they get like this focus on that blue belt. And then once they get that blue belt, it's almost like the high is over.
It's like you have to start over. You have to keep working.
Yeah, and then it's like,
I told Mitch the other day, what did I tell you? Do you remember what I told you?
I don't know, you tell
Wait,
me.
I said, what did I say about when you give me a blue belt?
It wants to be from Conor McGregor.
Fuck Conor McGregor.
What did you tell me?
What did I tell you?
I don't remember.
You talked about how a lot of people would quit when they got their blue belt, and I even thought about this before. I was like, when you give me a blue belt, give me a blue belt with a stripe on it. Like, don't give it to me.
That ain't how that works.
Don't give it to me until
I'm like, why didn't I remember this?
I get special treatment because I'm very fucking special. So don't give it to me until I'm ready, but
You know
give it to
what?
me with a stripe on it. So I feel like, I'm getting close to my purple belt.
I might be late to give you your blue belt.
That's fine as long as it has a stripe on it. You want me to stay? You'd be sad if I left or if I quit, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, I feel like a lot of our blue belts, and I'm calling out our blue belts. A lot of our blue belts have been not showing up as frequently as they were when
I
they
seen
were
Rob
white
came
belts.
back.
I'm in this
That's
for the
awesome.
long run. Like I'm doing it because I want to get better. Like, and I'm
You're
not
still a white belt.
I'm still a white belt, and I'll be a white belt. But like I said, I want to be really good, and I want to go against people and feel confident that I can win. I don't care about what belt I am, but if I'm beating you,
I'm not just giving out belts here. That's for sure not the fucking case. Like, and you know, and it was very apparent, you know, with a lot of our now blue belts when they were white belts, and we'd have people come in from outside and they'd fucking smash, you know, like our people are really good. And but yeah, once they get that blue belt, I feel like they've kind of reached that first goal that they have set, and then it's like that satisfaction or whatever,
positive
and then
reinforcement.
their hunger kind of, or their drive, you know, just kind of fades off. Did
they
that
feel like
happen to
it's so
you
far
as a
away.
blue? Oh no, when did you get your purple belt?
So recently, I don't. So that's the other thing too. I think for me, it's never been that getting the belt, whatever I got. I just didn't really care, and like, I'm just like, yeah. And I don't even remember.
You're a good purple belt. You know,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure.
I thought you were a black belt at first.
I did too.
Just black eyes.
I think it's like it's so far away, it's so far out of reach. Like when you get that blue belt, because I feel like, you know, like sometimes before you get like your first stripe, it might be 6 months, it might be this, and so it's like you feel like it, like your goal is so far away. But that's if your goal is the belt. But if your goal is just to get better every time you get here, then you're achieving your goal every day. You know, and it's like the mentality, mindset is everything.
I definitely, you know, and I think it's natural, like to kind of want that recognition if you are like putting in the work and you're doing really well, and then but it's one of those things. Jiu-jitsu is just, it's not fucking karate. You're not going to get a black belt in fucking 2 years, and there's minimum times in the belt, and there's time requirements. There's so it's not going to be the instant gratification. Even if you're doing everything right and kicking ass and all that shit, you still got to put in the time. You've got to put in the work, and that can be a little bit like frustrating at times. And I think it's because you just want that recognition. Like, I remember like being a white belt and was, smashing people or whatever. And I was like, all right, like I want the recognition of like that I'm good, and it's like, you think you should just get that from your performance. And like, when you're tapping out higher belts, like that's just should be good enough. But like the ego in you is like, I want that fucking blue belt to have that recognition of like, I'm not just a white belt, I'm a fucking blue belt, Will and then same with like purple belt, like
Will's goal of being like, sorry to cut you off, Will's goal to focus on one thing, like win or lose, like,
that was good,
to take everyone's back, just to get the sweep, just to get to the position. Like you don't need to.
What's your goal? You should be like assessing all the time, like for your own good. Like, like what am I working on? Did I achieve my goal? What can I do better next time? Like asking yourselves that. But I got a question for you. You guys notice like the people that quit are the ones that are more focused on the belt, whereas the people that want to get better are the ones that are normally in it for the long run, or
for sure.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, and then like once you because you will get a blue belt. I mean, if you just keep showing up, and that's the thing, you're not gonna get one if you don't. Yeah. So like you either put in the work and show up enough, and
I want to do more than just show up though. I want to show up and like how Will was saying today, like use that time to where it's going to benefit you. Like,
once you hit purple and brown, you need to like start branching off and kind of help like teach like a little bit, like here and there. That helps.
As a purple belt, you essentially have the knowledge of a black belt. You just don't have it as deep and rooted in you, and like you just don't have as much time on the mats doing these moves and stuff like that, but you pretty much have seen most of the techniques in jiu-jitsu, and like you're familiar with essentially everything. You're not at that expert level of like, knowing it. And then not all black belts are professors either. Yeah. And, some people are just competitors and just doing their thing. But I think you get a lot out of being a professor and teaching. When you teach stuff, you end up retaining it and learning it.
Honestly,
100%.
that was one of the
That's
first
the best way to
things that I was asked from not just Mark, but my original professor who gave me my black belt, Mike Gary. Thank you. Was the first question they asked me was like, what do you want out of it? What's your goal out of it? Do you want to teach? Do you want to compete? Do you want to open up your place? I'm like, I want to teach. I do. That's my goal, in the everyday, and that's why I try and show up as much as I can. And I really appreciate you guys, because I'm probably, and this is nothing against my old teams, but they know how I feel. I'm at the place where I need to be at right now, and I couldn't ask for a better team, and coaches that are like willing to kind of help me, even though like I'm at the beginning of my black belt, journey. To be with fellow black belts that are like,
well, everybody needs mentors.
And you guys are great, man.
Everyone needs mentors, and we all want to help each other get better. And it's
not me. I thought I put it on silent. I'm so freaking popular. I can't help it.
Now, when you were a blue belt,
I'm turning it off.
Like, because I know I went through a phase. I remember talking to my original professor, Mike. When we ended up finally burying the hatchet, with those little problems that we had because of politics stuff. Anyways, like I always muscled a lot of things. It was that wrestler mentality, even though I was doing a lot of MMA. But I mean, we got to remember this was 10 years ago. So like was you in that phase for a while? Whenever you're like blue belt into purple belt, where it seemed like that you were submitting a lot of people and you were getting like.
We talked about that the other day.
Dominant positions. But I remember my professor telling me, hey, man, you just need to kind of back it down a little bit because you're just like all the time.
And I use your technique,
for me,
not your
purple belt is where I started kind of like, okay, I don't have to be this way all the time.
don't know. I felt like, honestly, like I don't know. I was really I felt like I was really good as a blue belt.
You said that yesterday or the day before, or when we were talking the other day, you were like, as a blue belt, I could go and I could submit black belts and everything, but that was like with your A game. Like, but as a blue belt, could you tell me about K guard? Could you tell me about all that stuff?
I'm still learning K guard even now.
Yeah.
Like now, were you doing MMA during the time frame of blue? So you was basically in the same line where I was.
My game is very like pressure oriented.
But I mean, like,
it always has been.
Like, not the pressure part, but more like even the takedowns were very aggressive. Like, I was very aggressive at one point in my blue belt, white belt. Like,
maybe you're trying to prove a point or something.
I think you should not just rely on your strength and aggression to get you through. I think, and that's like, obviously, because there is technique. There's technique for a reason. Yeah. And the technique will, if you have like superior technique, it's going to trump a lot of things like and physical attributes of other your opponents.
Well, I mean, it was more like,
obviously physical strength plays a part in it and aggression plays a part in it. That's a thing. But like, and I hate when people say don't rely on your strength or whatever, because I think that's bullshit. I think you should not rely on your strength in place of technique, but definitely use your strength if you have it. Like, just like if you're flexible, use your flexibility if you have it, Yeah. But technique should always be the forefront of your focus of your game, because, all of the flexibility, the strength, and the endurance is all going to be cherries on top.
Yeah.
But you want to know the technique and you want to be good at.
But you were going through that same like lot of like aggression like type like during your blue belt phases, like through your blue belt phase. Did you feel like that you were doing a lot more pressure?
No. So when I was a blue belt, like I was really focused on, or even just coming up, and I was also competing in MMA and I was competing in jiu-jitsu. So I wanted to just win.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, arm bars were like my shit. That was like I could catch everybody in an arm bar. So when I went against like higher level belts and stuff, I was always just working on my A game. And my A game got really, really good. And I could, and again, I was really competitive. And so when I would roll with people, like, I wanted to win.
Yes,
versus I wanted to win, and I would go to my A game and just like kept hammering that. Whereas like I was becoming like a one-trick pony, so it was like, okay, I realized that at some point I was like, okay, I don't want to just be a one-trick pony, and I need to, like, there's more to jiu-jitsu than an armbar. So I need to like start like getting out of my comfort zone and, not being so competitive in the gym, rolling and stuff like that, and work on like, okay, I'm going to work on triangles because I'm not great at triangles. So if I want to get better at triangles, I need to work on them. And if I lose in the gym to someone that, I feel like I could have beaten it with my A game, but I lost working on my triangles, that's okay, and that's just your ego. Yeah. And
actually, going off ego, did either of you have a moment? Because I remember specifically as a blue belt where there was one moment where like the armbar was there. It was actually with Professor Alex. He hadn't thrown his foot over. I knew it was coming. He like started to fall back, and I tapped early. Like, feet weren't locked, nothing. He's like, "What?" And I said, "You were probably gonna have it. I'd rather just start over, move forward."
No, you need to learn.
Knew the tap was gonna come. I wasn't gonna fight that. And, for me, that was the ego, just, hey, like, and this was, like I said, as a blue belt, where I was like, and now there were times where I rolled with James Gerard. He went to ADCC. He was a wrestler at Penn State. And, he got your back. He choked out black belts, and, he had the wrestling background for like 12 years. And, worked on him taking my back. Now when people take my back, I'm more comfortable. I embrace the suck of that. I feel, did you ever have a moment at any point in your career where you're just like, hey, tap early? I learn from it.
I don't tap early because I again, being a competitor and like you want to train like you fight as well. So it's like a balance, right? Like, and I'm not gonna tap to the point where I'm gonna get injured, you know. And I will like, if I feel like you got this, like, then you got it, and I'll tap. But if you know, if I can try to fight out of this adversity basically that I'm feeling, then I want to see kind of where my limits are. It's like you got to push yourself to that edge without going over. Yeah. And, you know, and again, there's times to do that. Like when I'm having a competitive role with someone who is on my level and like this is something that I'm going to be like faced with in a competition. You know, it depends. Like, are we training for a competition training right now? Like you and I were training for, you're like, you know, all right, well, I want to do ADCC rules or whatever. So it's
no
like
points. I need to
right. Yeah. So
smart.
It's like, we're going to train on that level. But if we're just rolling, working on shit, like then that's a different mindset, you know?
Yeah. I was thinking about that today. Like the next time I have a competition or the next time, you know, I compete or whatever, I want like during the warm up, I want to like, you know, roll with one of my training partners and have them put me in like, cause I was having like these mental blocks almost a little bit. I was like scared I was going to get gassed and stuff. And I don't know what was wrong with me, but anyway, next time I compete, I want to have like, you know, one of my good training partners, like put me like, you know, in a bad situation and just like have me try to get out of that to kind of like warm up. So it's like, you know how like when you're rolling on live on Thursdays and stuff, it's like your first goes like not always the best, but like once you work through those hard positions and you get out of it, you know, you start to feel better.
Well, your
and
body's
it's like then
getting
you're on
warmed
fire,
up
you
too,
know?
so.
How do you guys warm up? I have a specific that the other black belt who showed up today, I didn't catch his name, but
I'm normally 5 minutes late, so I jump straight in.
I personally like flow rolling where like you're not gonna all of a sudden go for a submission. You're gonna move out to it and you're gonna do your game. You might even like jump into a position and try to get out. And I feel like that gets my brain firing better for me.
Oh, flow rolling
Like
first?
that, yeah.
It depends. Yeah, if I'm
World
like
star.
if I'm at a competition, I try to get a hard roll in.
Yeah.
Like a hard.
Okay,
I
yeah.
like to get a hard roll in before
Right
I actually go have a match, and then like if it's just here in the gym or something, I'll just pick somebody and just roll and just kind of flow. And you know, I trust in my defense enough. You know, it's like no one's gonna submit me. Like I could go the whole round just defending, and that's a good warm up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So for the
So
first,
sometimes I'll just kind of just chill and let people do their thing for that first round, and then I'll turn it on.
for the first super fight or whatever that I did, Will and my brother, because my brother wrestled, they were both like, you need to go in there and like give it your 100%. Like, and I didn't know what they meant by that. Like, and it was like right before I went, and I'm like on the match, like wait over here, like smiling, just like my like in my on my little la la land, and Will's like, Rachel, get it together. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, but then as soon as I shook her hand, the second that we started, that girl grabbed a collar tie, and I was like, oh, that's what they meant. Like this is real.
Reality.
Like this is where 100% comes in.
Turn your hat backwards.
Yeah.
You know
Like
what I
I'm
mean?
like, oh, okay, this is what y'all meant. It's scary.
Back what you were saying. It's funny you say that because Dave, I got him in a Kimura lock, and he's like, he tapped, and I was just switching my arms, and I was like, why'd you tap? Because I know I didn't do anything to you. He's like, oh, I knew you were going to get bicep crusher on me. I'm like, no, like I hadn't even like set back, and I explained to him like, if I'm going to do bicep crusher on you, I'm going to, you know, change my arms, and then I'm going to sit back and put my leg over you and everything. I'm like, but don't get into a bad habit of tapping so soon before it even comes. Like you got to get that feel of it. If you don't feel it, you're not going to know how much you're going to be able to, you know, like take it. Yeah.
I was listening to Craig, what's his name, Craig Jones or something, and he was funny. He was like, yeah, you know, if a lower belt, you know, gets me and they tap me out, you know, what I do is I just let them tap me out like 5 or 6 times, because like when they go to talk about it, if they're like, oh, I tapped him out once, like that's believable, but then you tapped me out 6 times, no, you fucking didn't. Like dude, that's genius, because then it even mental fucks them, because they're like, oh, he just wasn't trying, he gave it to
Gordon
me. But when the
talks
first
about,
one it was.
Actually, like, him and Danaher, last time he was on Joe Rogan, I think they were talking about how he will get these other guys come in here and let them beat him, like in training.
Well, that's
and he'll put himself in bad positions.
He's playing. So he's playing for the finite games, because he's playing for the infinite games. Or I forget the saying. I'll have to look it up later. But he knows that he's playing for that title champion fight. He's probably working on something like, well, if I go left, if I go right, let's see, I need to feel that pressure.
Yeah.
And then you see him apply it. And so I think even going back to like the specific, like, I don't know, light bulb for me, knowing it was coming, knowing my arm was, knowing Alex is also good enough to get it. He thought he'd like pop my arm or something. And I was like, no, I just know the tension. I feel it there. Let's restart and pick that back up. And that was maybe, like I said, the ego
Yeah,
thing.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. You know,
There's-
Or I
again,
just suck. I don't know. There's
Nah,
I don't think
Nah,
wrong
nah, nah.
with
There-
Alex.
There's another. Sorry, never mind.
no shame in losing to Alex. He's a beast.
Oh
but,
God.
Is that
But-
the other black belt that was here?
No.
Or hold on, which one's
I
Alex?
don't,
Alex, he owns Bravo.
Oh,
Academy.
okay,
that's
okay,
my
okay.
professor.
All right.
Yeah. And
There-
no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, and again, it just depends on your mind frame and like what your objectives are and what you're working on at that time. You get a cramp
Yeah.
too?
Everybody's getting hamstring cramps, man. I need to hydrate, dude. Like
You guys need some
I'm literally,
electrolytes.
no, literally,
All
I'm
I've had
running
is Diet
on
Coke and I don't got
on
Here's our
sponsor.
I'm running on
Smashing Greens and
freaking
just-
on coffee and an energy drink, and that's it. That's all I've had today. I ain't even had lunch or dinner or breakfast, and usually I don't do that. And I've been working freaking 10 hours construction work, and then come here and do this shit. All right,
another-
and I'm fucking 40. Damn it, I don't want to hear you young bucks saying jack.
It's the smashing greens keeping you young.
Another funny thing that Craig Jones said, and
we
I
got to hurry up and wrap this podcast up because Michael Doe's gonna be like, "What the hell? These guys are just going on and on." But
all right, this will be the last thing I said, and I can't, like I said, I can't believe I'm even going to say this. But another thing he said, he was like, and it reminds me of like the strength and technique. Whereas think of autism as the technique and roids the strength, and like so Craig Jones was like, so there's like a perfect like balance between someone having autism and being on steroids to make them the perfect grappler.
Yeah.
But like if you think about it, it's like strength and technique, you know, because autism is very intellectual.
That was a dig at Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Poor Gordon Ryan. Poor guy. I thought he was the cook, the chef. What's the guy's
Ramsay?
name? Gordon Ramsay. I thought they were the same guy.
You just don't like British people. Huh?
Yeah. What? I don't really like Britain, to be honest. London sucks. It smells like an ashtray. I mean.
Yeah, it does.
So maybe you're right. Maybe,
And it's
and
always
you know what?
gloomy.
I think it's the most annoying accent too. Like, you know, people used to be like, "Oh, that's British accent so hot." I'm like, dude, it's fucking annoying. Like,
He just likes Australian accents.
give me like an Italian accent or something.
Hey.
Anything.
Hey,
What about Irish? Conor
Fuck
McGregor.
that.
Conor McGregor.
No.
All right, guys. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Violent Hippie Podcast, nameless podcast, whatever this is. And thank you to our special guests. Thank you guys for coming on and joining us.
And tell us what questions you have or if you have any suggestions about what our name should be.
Yeah.
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 We want to hear from y'all, right?
All right. All right, guys. Thanks. Peace.
Peace out.
Thanks for tuning in to the Violent Hippie Podcast. Remember, be kind or else.